Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a sweeping, epic journey through time to explore one of the absolute most enigmatic survivors of the animal kingdom. We're talking millions of years of evolutionary history, incredible prehistoric archaeology, and some truly wild global mythology. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever actually looked at a fox and wondered, what it really is? We see them darting across our lawns or sneaking into the woods, and we usually just brush them off as common woodland creatures. But is the fox a biological marvel, humanity's lost best friend, or maybe even a magical shape-shifting spirit? To figure that out, we have to completely challenge our perception of this animal and jump all the way back 34 million years. Part 1. The Dawn of Leptokion. Let's map out the sheer scale of the fox's epic journey. Just look at this timeline. It begins roughly 34 million years ago, with the appearance of Leptocyon right here in North America. Then, we jump forward to about 3 to 5 million years ago for the massive Out of Tibet adaptation. And finally, we hit a truly striking milestone, 16,500 years ago, which marks the very first human fox burial in Jordan. We're going to unpack each of these incredible eras. Now, to understand where the fox comes from, you have to look at the incredible contrast in early canine evolution. On one side, you had the Borophogonae. These guys were terrifying. They were massive, heavy dogs with skulls designed purely for a powerful, bone-crushing bite. But on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you had the Leptokion. This little primitive canine weighed a mere 2 kilograms. It was incredibly slender. So instead of using brute force, Leptokion survived by being ridiculously swift, perfectly designed for snatching small, fast-moving prey. And while those giant, bone-crushing dogs eventually died out, the agile little Leptokion thrived. In fact, about 11.9 million years ago, this is the exact lineage that branched off to create the modern fox family we know today. Part 2. The Out of Tibet Theory. Fast forward a few million years and our story shifts to one of the most unforgiving places on Earth, the harsh, freezing peaks of the Himalayas. Back in 2010, paleontologists made this totally groundbreaking discovery in the Zonda Basin of southern Tibet. They dug up fossil specimens of Vulpes kuzijingi, an ancient Tibetan fox dating back 3 to 5 million years. Now, this discovery was a massive deal. It completely rewrote our understanding of evolution. Before this, scientists pretty much assumed animals only adapted to extreme cold later on during the Ice Age. But this 3 to 5 million-year-old fox totally shattered that consensus. So here is how this plays out in what scientists now call the out-of-Tibet hypothesis. Step 1. The Tibetan Plateau basically acted as this brutal, prehistoric training ground. Step 2. Foxes used this environment to pre-adapt to severe cold and snow long before the Ice Age even started. And Step 3, by the time the actual Ice Age rolled around, they were already perfectly equipped to spread out and survive as the modern Arctic fox. Literally, they conquered the cold millions of years before the rest of the animal kingdom even felt a chill. Part 3. Prehistoric man's first pet. Now let's shift gears from deep-time biology to something incredibly emotional, the ancient connection between humans and foxes. Take a look at the Uyun al-Haman burial in Jordan. This is 16,500 years ago, and archaeologists found a grave where a fox was buried directly alongside a human. And it gets even crazier. Later on, when the human's body was moved to an adjacent grave, the fox was moved right along with them. Whoever moved that body deliberately made sure the human was still accompanied by their fox. To put this in perspective, this human-fox burial predates the very first dog burials by a full 4,000 years. So the crucial point is exactly what researchers studying these sites have concluded. The most plausible explanation is that this fox was a highly valuable companion to these early hunter-gatherer groups. And this wasn't just an isolated incident in Jordan. We see similar patterns at sites in South America, like Canada Seca, where foxes literally shared the diets of their human counterparts. Early humans clearly didn't just see them as wildlife, they saw them as valued companions. But of course, this brings up a huge what if. I mean, if foxes had a 4,000-year head start on dogs, why aren't they the ones curled up on our couches right now? Well, it all comes down to their skittish nature. Despite those early bonds, foxes are just inherently timid. They're wired to be elusive and incredibly difficult to bring under full human control. Over time, early humans realized that the canine lineage leading to the modern dog was just a lot more companionable and eager to please, while the fox held onto that wild, untamable edge. Part 4. Global Shape-Shifting Fox Myths. Because the fox lived perfectly on the fringes of our society, close enough to spot, but way too wild to actually tame, it became the ultimate canvas for human imagination. Just look at the kitsune. This is a mythical, shape-shifting trickster fox from Japanese folklore. Legend says that as they grow older and wiser, they can possess up to 9 tails. And they're incredibly ambiguous. Sometimes they act as benevolent deities, and other times they are these mischievous spirits causing absolute chaos. And this brilliantly illustrates how the fox's elusive biological reality inspired legends that share a consistent thematic thread across entirely different cultures. You've got the Japanese kitsune, but then there's the Chinese holy jing, these playful tricksters who disguise themselves as humans to integrate into society. And in Korea, you have the kumiho, which is a much darker take. It's a seductive, dangerous spirit known for consuming men. But what links all of them is that shifting identity between human and beast, which perfectly mirrors the real fox's existence right on the threshold of the wild. And this mystique is truly global. In Scandinavia, they're seen as forest spirits. But honestly, one of the coolest myths has to be Reventullet. This is the ancient Finnish belief that running foxes actually conjure the aurora borealis. The story goes that as they sprint across the snowy hills, their bushy tails sweep the snow and send magical sparks up into the sky, setting the night ablaze. Even today, the literal Finnish word for the northern lights translates to fox fires. For thousands of years, humans have looked at foxes and thought, yeah, that thing has magical powers. But here is where we take a sharp turn back into reality. We have to ask, do foxes actually possess a real sixth sense? Did our ancestors pick up on something about their behavior that modern science is literally just now starting to figure out? Part 5. The magnetic hunting superpower. The answer is a resounding yes. We are talking about what might legitimately be the most mind-bending biological superpower in the mammalian world. When a fox hunts in the winter, its prey is usually buried deep under heavy snow. The fox can't see them at all. But scientists recently discovered that foxes actually use the Earth's magnetic field as an invisible targeting system. They align their jumps with magnetic north, using the Earth's field to calculate the exact trajectory needed to dive headfirst into the snow and pin a mouse they can't even see. It turns out, those ancient myths about their magical abilities weren't wrong. They just didn't realize the magic was actually quantum biology. Seriously, it is no wonder they inspired all those trickster myths. The fox is a total biological marvel. Not only do they use magnetic fields to hunt, but they also have whiskers on their legs, just like a cat, to help them navigate dark terrain. They're also the only member of the dog family that climbs trees, and the way they communicate, they use this rapid-fire chattering noise called a gecker, which sounds like this eerie mix of growling and human laughter. All of these bizarre traits combine to make the fox one of the most uniquely adapted survivors out there. Which brings us to our final thought. We've traced this animal from a 2-kilogram ancient ancestor dodging massive predators up to the freezing peaks of Tibet, into the graves of prehistoric humans, all the way through global mythology, and finally to its very real magnetic superpowers. So next time you see a fox darting into the woods, will you just see a simple woodland creature, or will you see an ancient, magnetic, shape-shifting survivor of deep time? Keep that in mind next time you look out your window. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and never stop wondering about the world around you.